Let's see this chat box. Has anyone said anything? Have I missed anything? Getting FOMO already. I've only just started. Hi, everyone. Yes, great. Katarzyna, you are the first one there. Gustavo, you're the second. Teacher Raw Education, you are the third. And so on and so forth. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Global Teachers Festival. Welcome. We're kicking it off. It's finally here. You can breathe. It's been a long year without this. I know. It's been a long year, but we're back. 2025 begins and welcomes the festival. Hello, keep it coming. Let's see some emojis for those who are inclined. I'm already seeing loads of love hearts. I love seeing love hearts. Who doesn't love seeing love hearts? I'm Will Rickson from Macmillan Education. I'm going to be your host for the opening event for the festival. And it's wonderful to see you. Hi, Vicky. Good to see you there. I always do keep an eye out for friendly faces or friendly names. So welcome to the Global Teachers Festival. This is going to kick everything off. For the next kind of 2 weeks, we're doing this. Hi, Doigu, as well. Lovely to see you. Keep it coming, everyone. Keep saying hi. And let's have, the question is, how many festivals, how many global teachers festivals have you been to before? How many have you been to before? If this is your first, say 0. If you've been to others, give me the number. I've been to 4. Good. Not many zeros. That's great. I'm loving that people are coming back, but still some zeros. And it's really great to introduce some people to this. Really lovely to see you and to see you back. Let me see. Good stuff. I'm looking, I'm reading. I'm not just reading emails. I'm looking at your comments. There we go. Cool. Hello. And where are you from? Let's keep it simple. Where are you from? UK. Maybe just say a country, the country name. Uck. I'm from Uck. I'm in Uck. Good stuff. Lovely. I love all that chat. Brilliant. Oh, everyone, lots of people here already. Amazing. All right. Okay. So I'm always guilty of this. I start this bit late, this sort of slides bit, and that sort of puts everything on the back foot. So I'm going to start on time. And when you can see my opening Global Teachers Festival slide, can you let me know? Just say you can see it. Great. Thank you, Tutu. Jay Wise. What a name. Jay, that is amazing. You've lucked out there. Jay Wise. Sound like a character in an Agatha Christie book. Lovely stuff. Good to see you all. So, this is the Global Teachers Festival 2025. We've got loads coming up. We've got 20. I'll tell you how many. Quiz question. How many talks do we have in the Global Teachers Festival this year? How many talks over the 2 weeks? Quiz question. Lots. Instituto Dickens, Laura Messer. 10, 30, 14, 20. Leslie is the closest. It's an odd number. It is an odd number, just to confuse things. It's not a round, even number. It's an odd one. 100, Alishina. Crikey. That's high expectations. 21, Faye. She's got it. 21 talks. I'm going to skip to the end now. 21 talks, 25 speakers in total, 10 working days. They all run 3 times a day as well. So we do, we've already done one this morning. So we've got a 10 o'clock a.m. UK time. You can convert that for yourself. So in the UK, that's 10 a.m. Now, 2 p.m. And we've got another one at 9:30 p.m. So we're kind of looking at kind of the East Asia, sort of the Eastern Europe sort of timing. Then we've got this one, which is kind of generally kind of Europe, and then some Asia, some America. Then the evening session, which is for the Americas, basically, and then some people from Europe. We actually get some people in Asia in the evening one who are coming from sort of the next day, which feels very quantum leap. Anyway, so that's kind of the festival in numbers. This is the first week of the festival, so we're going to slowly sort of zoom in on today's session. This is week 1. I'm not going to go through that in granular detail, but you can see what we've got coming up. We've got today's opening event. It's a family event, a family-run occasion today. We've got David Crystal and Ben Crystal opening the event today, any minute. And then we've got Sarah and Susan Hillyard as well, openings today. So we've got Ben and David talking about conversing, dialogues, speaking between people and how that adapts between various scenarios. That I'm not going to talk anymore. And then Sarah and Susan have put together something really special about how they sort of both came into teaching and how Sarah and Susan's life kind of intertwined, being mother and daughter, and how they kind of mirrored / went another ways. It's really interesting, and I can't wait for you to see that. But Ben and David first. Then we've got conversation. I'm going to be here for a podcast with Harry and Laura, and then Paula Assad, our New Voices winner. The day after that, we've got a day on well-being. Then we've got a day on critical thinking, and then we've got a day on language learning journeys from Anna and Gosha. So I can't wait. I cannot wait for this festival. And then we've got a whole other week. There's a whole week 2. I'm not going to go into that now. That'll be information overload, but we've got lots and lots coming. So that's the first week. I hope you're excited. Are you excited? Let's just converse with you for a minute. On a scale of 1 to 1,000,000, how excited are you? Answers in the chat box. 1 to 1,000,000. How excited? Great. Me too. Me too. Good stuff. Emoji it up if you like. Just a note to this, so just so people are aware, I know this matters to a lot of people. So you're going to get a certificate by email within a week. You will get a certificate by email within a week if you're watching on Zoom. If you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn, you won't get that. Unfortunately, you need to register for the event to get your certificate and the virtual goodie bag. So do register at macmillanenglish.com. There might be a link in the chat box as well for you to register for the Global Teachers Festival, so you can get your certificates. You can still get them for the rest of the days if you register now. And actually, I think you can get it for this session. If you register now, you can get on. You can still get on. That's it. You're also going to get a virtual goodie bag at the end of this event, live Zoom people. All right, let's zoom in on today. I've already gone into this. So Ben and David are going to kick us off. Sarah and Susan will be joining us in about 40 minutes. So David and Ben, are you around? Hovering around the internet, buzzing about.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, we are around. We are there. We are here.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, go.
Welcome,
Thank
Ben.
you
Welcome.
so much. Great to see you, Will.
Great to see you too. It's been 2 hours, Ben.
It's been a long 2 hours. I've missed you.
Hasn't it? I was sipping my soup for lunch, thinking, when do I get to see Ben and David again?
You just look up at the big oil painting that you've got in your.
That's true. That's true. The one that you sent me. Yeah, that's very nice. Great stuff. Oh, it's so good to have you back. This is such a touching, sort of interesting. It's great. This talk is really, really interesting. You're in for a real treat. So, David, do you need an introduction? Would you like an introduction?
Well, probably not. I mean, there's one on the screen, which is good enough. What it doesn't say is where we are actually at my home in Holyhead, which is in North Wales, which is just opposite Dublin in the Irish Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben has come over from his place, the other side of Anglesey, to be with us today.
Good stuff. You are both prolific authors, as I'm sure the audience knows. David has been in ELT, English language, for a very long time. It's a great pleasure to have you here, David, again. And Ben has been involved in Shakespeare in many different forms throughout his career and led theatre productions. What's your most proudest moment, both of you? What's your most proudest single moment in your careers?
Some of you might know that Dad led the explorations in original pronunciation, the accent that Shakespeare and his actors spoke in 400 years ago at the first explorations they did at Shakespeare's Globe in 2005. And in 2019, I took 3 Shakespeare plays I took a company of actors to Japan, and we made 3 Shakespeare plays there in a week, following the practices of 400 years ago when they used to make their shows in 2 or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke them in original pronunciation, and we did them in mountain-top remote communities where no one spoke English, and big cities as well. And someone came up to us in one of these remote mountain tops after one of the shows and said, we didn't understand a word because we don't speak English, but we followed every single second of the story.
Yeah.
And said,
Really?
wow, you communicate with heart. And I was very, very proud of that, and proud of your work too. And
Yeah.
it's something about the accent, I think, that really helps that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
What about you? I've given you enough time to think.
Yeah. I'm
Your proudest moment is me. Having
yeah,
me.
I think that's it.
I'll take it.
You see, I've been distracted by the fact that Will asked for our most proudest moment. And
Oh, no.
And you see, as a grammarian, I'm
God.
now pondering the implications of that. It's very Shakespearean. Shakespeare.
Did I say most proudest?
You
You
did
did.
say most proudest.
And-
No, I didn't. I didn't. Audience, did I say that? I don't believe it.
Yeah, and the point is, Will, that's how Shakespeare would have said it. He
I know. That's why I said it, David.
a double superlative. And then in the 18th century, grammarians said, no, you can't do that. So since then, we have to say most something or other, or the proudest something or other, but not both at the same time.
Hey, listen, for such a superlative, I would say let's have both.
Whee, there we go. That was very
Yeah.
a little linguistic
Well,
joke.
there we are then.
More than
Lovely,
merrier.
thanks you two. Enough gabbering. That's it. I think I'm going to leave you to it. Have a great time. See you in about 30 minutes.
Thank you, Will. Thank you very much.
Right. Well, yes, as you heard, I'm David Crystal and Ben has gone. Well, I'm expecting him back at any second now.
Hail, fellow. Well met. Good morrow.
Look, Ben, that's not right.
Oh.
We're in the 21st century.
Oh.
That's how we'd start a conversation in Shakespeare's time.
Ah.
Go out and come in again.
Oh, okay. All right.
Good day to you, sir. How do you do?
Well, that's a bit better, but you're in the 18th century now.
Oh.
That's how you might greet Dr. Johnson. Yeah?
Ah, yeah, okay.
So I'll go out and come in again.
You are very Johnson-like, I suppose. Hey, how's it going?
Ah, that's more like it.
Hey, dude.
Dude? I am not a dude.
You could be.
I don't think I'm a dude. Am I a dude? No, I don't think so.
Dude.
Anyway, at least we're in the 21st century now.
Well, and welcome everyone to our talk today. Thank you all for coming. This talk, which we have called Let's Talk Together.
Face to face.
And screen to screen.
And the important word in our title is together.
I don't know why is it the important word, not talk?
Well, because it's the togetherness of a conversation that makes it work well. And when that's not there, conversations become very difficult.
Oh, okay. Well, let's explore togetherness then. We are together now having this chat.
Yeah.
And we're face to face and we're being filmed at the same time,
Yeah, that's
which makes the situation a bit odd.
Yeah.
So what is it that shows we're together?
Well, several things. The fact that it's face to face for a start. We're looking at each other some of the time, of course, to the screen as well. But if I were to look away while you were talking completely, it would seem as if I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it would seem rude.
And then did you notice what I said when you started to talk just now?
I didn't hear you say anything.
Ah, but I did, and that's the point. You're not supposed to notice it, except unconsciously. Tell you what, if you can remember, let's redo that bit of the conversation and I'll point it out.
Okay, all right. Now, how did it go? So we're together now having a face-to-face chat.
And at that point, I said,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And you did. Why did you do that?
Well, it's one of the most important ways in which we show togetherness. It's called simultaneous feedback.
Simultaneous feedback.
That's right. Feedback. It means the reaction that somebody makes.
Oh, like when a shop asks for customer feedback about something.
Exactly. I was giving you a reaction to show that I was listening to you.
Ah.
And you've just done the same thing now. You just said, and I said, and I added a yeah to show I was agreeing with you. And then I followed it up with a quiet laugh and a nod.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
And all this has a positive meaning in British culture, all to reinforce the point you were making.
And you were doing it at the same time I was talking.
That's why I called it simultaneous feedback. And it's what makes a conversation work in a smooth and comfortable way, or at least in English.
So I suppose there are cultures where this doesn't happen so much.
Well, indeed, yes, there are. But English speakers do it all the time, and there are dozens of vocal reactions available to us.
Such as?
Well, yeah, really? Sure. Uh-huh. Ah. Oh, gosh.
Okay, I get the
Yeah,
point.
wow. Phew. Ha eh?
All right. That's enough. I think we've got you. But basically, what you're saying is that listening is a very active process.
It is, yeah. Listeners don't keep silent while somebody is talking to them, and they don't keep their faces immobile either. If they don't give any feedback, they begin to feel uncomfortable. And if it goes on for too long, they won't be able to continue with what they're saying. They pause and say such things like, "Are you all right? Are you feeling okay? Have I said something that's offended you?"
I was just making your point for you.
No, thank you very much. That's a relief. Thought for a moment there might be something wrong with the recording we're making.
No. All's well. Everything's well, isn't it?
Yeah, hope so. Anyway, yes, isn't it? That makes another point. You asked a question, but with no hope of getting an answer. Questions are another crucial thing in face-to-face chat, aren't they?
Aren't they? Hey, tag questions.
Yes. Always an important section in an ELT course book, isn't it? Because they change so much.
Isn't it? Yes, I remember when I was learning
French.
I remember when I learned French, and that wasn't such a problem, n'est-ce pas?
N'est-ce pas? Indeed, lots of languages don't vary their tag questions, but English does, as all you learners know very well. And then there are all the other ways in which we can interact.
Like?
Well, like. That's a prompt. And a minute ago you said, such as? That's another prompt. It's kind of interruption, really.
Interruptions get a bad press, though, usually.
Oh, well, yes. Etiquette guy. Etiquette.
You've just had lunch.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Etiquette guides say one should never interrupt. But in fact, interrupting can be very positive and helpful in promoting togetherness.
Like when I chip in and ask you to clarify something.
Well, exactly.
So what about intonation, the melody of the voice? The melody.
That's crucially important, especially when we want to make a statement and want our listener to react at the same time. We use a rising tone of voice, which sends an alert to the listener.
Now that's what people sometimes call uptalk, isn't it?
That's right. It's been a feature of English for hundreds of years, but it's very noticeable these days, especially among younger people who often use it repeatedly when they're talking.
Would you illustrate it?
Yeah, it might sound a bit odd coming from me.
You're still young.
Well, not ish, yeah. But let me say that last sentence again in an uptalk way. I said, it's very noticeable these days, especially among younger people.
Okay, right. So it's like you're checking with me, wanting my support.
Building rapport, really, I suppose. For many people, it's become an important feature of face-to-face conversation. Not everybody does it, though. Some people really dislike it, especially when somebody speaks like that all the time.
Oh, so what about grammar? Are there any grammatical features people use that promote this togetherness that we've been talking about?
I think the main thing is the way we introduce little phrases into our sentences. Phrases that show we're thinking of our listener while we're talking. Like, you know.
Oh, right. Or you see.
Yeah, and mind you, and I mean.
And the variations on I mean, like I mean to say, or you know what I mean.
Yeah. They all reach out to the listener in their different ways. Linguists sometimes call them fillers. That's F-I-L-L-E-R-S, fillers, filling the space, or comment clauses, and they can convey a range of meanings.
Why don't we explore one in more detail?
Okay, which one would you like?
You know.
You know, right. Now that's one which changes its intonation depending on whether we use it at the beginning of a sentence or in the middle or at the end. So, I'll give you a sentence and you tell me what it means.
Okay. You use it at the beginning.
I'll begin at the beginning, as the man said. Still and Thomas reference there. That's for you, Ben.
Thank you, Dad. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'll say it in two ways. First, without you know, and then with. You ready?
Okay.
I need a new coat. You know, I need a new coat. What's the difference?
Well, the first one sounds a bit abrupt, a bit out of the blue. Adding the you know makes it sound a bit more friendly.
Yeah, it's sort of asking for a bit of sympathy,
Sure.
Really, empathy. Now, here's an example of you know in the middle of a sentence. I'll meet you in the shop. You know, the shop on the corner. So what's happening there?
Okay, well, that gets rid of an ambiguity. It's as if you've realized that the shop by itself isn't clear enough. So you add some extra words to help. And the intonation is different.
Yeah, it's low down, you know. Different from the one I used before, which was high up. You know, I need a new coat. You know, the shop on the corner.
Sure, yeah. And so what happens if you use it at the end of a sentence?
Well, there are two choices now with different intonations. One is high up, like a tag question. You'll need to book a car, you know? What does that mean?
Like, do you realize, or is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
And then what about this one with a low rising intonation and usually said slowly? I've just spoken to your cousin, you know.
Oh gosh. Yeah, there's trouble brewing with my cousin. Some sort of issue that we both know about.
You know, yes, indeed.
It sounds as if then we can use you know anywhere in a sentence.
Most places, but not everywhere. It wouldn't work in the middle of a compound name, for instance. We wouldn't say something like, I've just been to New, you know, York.
No. Or a compound word like washing machine.
Yeah.
I've just bought a new washing, machine.
That would be very odd.
So all of this is to help a conversation bowl along smoothly and fluently. But these days we have online conversations too. So does the same sort of thing happen here?
Well, let's try it out. You go into the other room and call me up on my laptop.
All right, I'll go into the room and zoom into your laptop.
Yeah, okie doke. This is going to be a very different experience. And it's something I suspect most people have found. They can find chatting online tricky or tiring or uncomfortable. And it's because the interaction is missing all the features we've just been talking about. So I'll put my laptop in a place where I hope you can all see Ben and me together. Oh, here he is.
Oh, ding!
Hi, Ben.
Hey,
Hi, Ben.
Oh, sorry, I was muted for a second there.
Phew. Okay, let's continue our chat.
Okay.
Well, there's the first thing. Did you notice that pause before Ben replied? A time lag between us. It might be because of the technology, or it might be because Ben isn't sure whether I'm expecting him to say something.
I thought you were about to say something.
And I don't know whether you want to say something either, which leads to the familiar situation of a breakdown with both people talking at the same time.
Yeah, that
It's a
could be very
situation where...
Oh,
well, sorry.
sorry, you go.
Me? Okay, I'll go. What were you about to say?
That it can be very annoying, especially when there's more than two people in the online chat.
Yeah. And the more people there are, the more the speaker finds it less of a conversation and more of a speech or a lecture.
And there's no simultaneous feedback.
Ah, that's the point, exactly. While I'm speaking to you online, you're not going, yeah, or any of the other noises that we make when it's all face to face. Or if you are, I can't hear them or see them. You're not making the changes in your facial expression that you would if we were together. You're just staring at a camera, or maybe not even that, with your eyes looking at your screen, not at the camera. We're just not together.
Yes, each of us is on our own, and without those helpful reactions, we just have to make the best of it. You have to concentrate more as well, which I guess is why at the end of an online conversation, people say they often feel tired.
Yeah, there's an artificiality that we have to overcome. And it's especially noticeable when AI is involved and people find themselves talking to a robot or to an AI model trained to talk like someone we know. You can nod and smile as much as you like to a robot, but it won't pay any attention at the moment.
Of course, the technology tries to help, especially when there are several people chatting, like showing a raised hand, but then that can be missed, and it's a problem when there's more than one hand raised at the same time. We have to invite the participants to speak, which is even more artificial.
And from the listener point of view, it's difficult to know when or how to interact. It's virtually impossible to insert a quick prompt, for instance, as when we were doing when talking face to face, or a tag question.
What happens to all those filler phrases like, you know?
Well, people are reluctant to use them. I've listened to many online chats from this point of view, and they hardly ever appear.
It's the same with social media as well.
Yeah, when it's written down, you hardly ever see phrases like, you know, or I mean there. The exchanges are shorter, more succinct.
And I suppose that means they can come across as being more abrupt.
Yeah. And if someone was bothered to insert a you know into their written social media, the lack of intonation would make the force of the phrase difficult to feel.
Adding a smiley or an emoticon can help.
Well, it can, but they can easily be misinterpreted. I mean, take a smile, for instance. That can mean friendly or humorous or sarcastic or even threatening.
Good evening, Mr. Bond.
And that's the bad guy talking. So how's about coming back for some more offline chat to end this talk?
All right. Well, do you want to shut your laptop down?
I'll shut the laptop down. I'll switch you off. I don't often have the opportunity to do that.
This is your only chance.
Off. There you go. Oh, yes. Very expensive piece of equipment this was, by the way. Yes, emoticons can be tricky things. Some don't travel across cultures. A thumbs up symbol doesn't always mean good. It can be an insult in some parts of the world. And I recall a lively debate once, a while back, about whether the folded hands emoji, what does that mean? Could it mean please, or thank you, or I'm sorry, or I hope, or I pray, or applause? There was no consensus.
Oh, sorry, I'm late. The internet lag was just traffic. Awful, terrible.
Traffic on the stairs here, was it?
Internet traffic on the stairs.
Yeah. Oh. But that's clear, you see. If he comes in with an emoji of some sort in his hands, the context shows the meaning. And there's another big thing about a physical face-to-face conversation. We use gestures and our body position as well as facial expressions to tell our listener what's going on. And we use words like here and there and this and that to show what's happening. They're pointing words, and they work well here in our room, but not on screens.
You look over there, Dad.
Where? Oh, I see. It's an example.
I'm just a very good actor. Yeah, but I wouldn't be able to say that on screen. Like, look over there.
So in our talk, you see, we've been focusing on the differences between offline and online conversation. But there's a great deal in common as well. Let's not forget that. I mean, take storytelling, for instance. I mean, the most interesting conversations are those full of people telling stories or recounting what's happened to them, and whether you're telling a story online or off doesn't make much difference. Stories have their own grammar and style, wherever they're told.
What sort of grammar?
Oh, well, tell me a story and I'll point out a couple of its features. But make it a short one, as we're due to finish in a few minutes and answer some questions from viewers.
All right. So, well, this morning I set off early to get here to make the first talk, and I'm on the main road when Well, wouldn't you know, there's a traffic build-up and everything slows right down. And I think I better let you know that I'm going to be late. So I pull into a lay-by because Mother doesn't like me using my phone whilst I drive. And I get out my mobile and there's no signal. And so I set off again.
That's it. Fine. That's plenty. Yeah, good example. And in fact, you were here in good time. It's enough to illustrate a big point about that kind of informal storytelling. So did you notice the way Ben joined his points together, if I remember? I'll emphasize the linking words. There's a traffic build-up and everything slows right down. And I think I better let you know I might be late. And so I pull into a lay-by and get out my mobile because you're about the mother. And then, but there's no signal. And so I set off again. It's just one enormous sentence with all the bits linked by and or but or so or because. Some playwrights are very good at creating realistic conversations like this. You've got examples in your head, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, Harold Pinter, you introduced me to his work. His first play was called The Room. And there's a character called Mrs. Sands who tells the others how she and her husband were looking for somewhere to live. And she says, we're looking for a place, you see, somewhere quiet. And we knew this district was quiet. And we passed the house a few months ago and we thought it looked very nice. But we thought we'd call of an evening to catch the landlord. So we came along this evening. And
that's right. Yeah, lots of ands and so's and buts and so on. All one big sentence. Pinter is great at naturalistic conversation. One reviewer at the time said he had a tape recorder for an ear. Yeah, that's right.
But to be fair, most conversations in plays aren't like that, and certainly not with Shakespeare, which is where we started. So let's end with Shakespeare too. Here's the gentleman at the end of Shakespeare's play, The Winter's Tale, where he's giving an account to his friends of the revelations that have just happened. I make a broken delivery of the business, but the changes I perceived in the king and Camillo were very notes of admiration. They seemed almost, with staring on one another, to tear the cases of their eyes. There was speech in their dumbness, language in their very gesture. They looked as though they had heard of a world ransomed or one destroyed.
Yeah, that's right. Nice example. And did you notice? There were 4 separate sentences in there. If you were reading it, full stop, full stop, full stop, full stop. The grammar is much more structured and the sentences succinct. It's hugely effective writing, but a long way from the loosely linked units of everyday speech.
Well, there we are. We hope you've enjoyed these few thoughts about how conversation works as a taster for the insights planned for the rest of the festival.
Yeah, tomorrow especially, it's about conversation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So now, remember these 3 key points when you're thinking about the differences between face-to-face and online conversation.
Okay, 1, the crucial role of simultaneous feedback when we talk face-to-face.
And its absence when we talk online.
2, the importance of those grammatical features of interaction that make a conversation flow smoothly.
You know?
You know. And 3, the way our gestures, faces, and body positions bring us together. So there. And you can't do that online. Thanks, Will.
Hey, Will.
Thanks a lot, you two. Amazing. I love the energy that you two have. I think everyone just loves your energy. It's just so great. It's so great to see a dad and his son as well doing this. You know, it's just so.
Well, I don't have any energy. I just plug into him and he gives me some.
Aww.
Don't we all, David? Don't we all? No, that's really great. Thank you so much. Cheers for
You're welcome.
Really put a lot of time into that. It was really, really helpful and informative and entertaining, I'm going to say.
Glad to be of service. Always glad to be a part of Macmillan English's festivals.
Nice.
Are there questions? Do you want us to hang around?
Yes, there are. So the first question is, was Ben's bedroom full of his dad's books or were there room for toys too?
Oh, no, the books were the toys. And you know, the other thing is,
2 years old. Hello, Dad. Yeah.
everyone's waiting all year for the new toy to come out, but Dad was writing so many books. I get a new book every week or so.
You got to sit on something, haven't you?
I'm sleeping on something. It would,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, his first word was semantics.
Was it?
Probably. I can't remember exactly now.
Something as extraordinary as that, at least. Okay, so yeah, we have got more. Here we go. They're coming. Could you please suggest some books for communication in the classroom? They found your conversation very helpful. Thank you.
Well,
any books that you can recommend that they can use in their class to provoke conversation?
Well, I wrote a book which wasn't intended to be used in classrooms, but in fact, it turns out from the emails I've been getting over the years that it has been used quite a bit. It's called Let's Talk. English Conversation Works. And it's a book. It's not so big. It's about that thick. But the point is, it's written in very short chapters and interludes and boxes and things like that.
Right.
So what some teachers have told me is that they haven't sort of read the whole thing to the class or anything like that, but they've pulled out little bits from here and there, what's an example from the early part of the book? You know, how we say good morning to each other. You know the basic rule about saying good morning to people, Will? You only say it to one person once. You don't repeat it. If I see you in the morning, I say, morning, Will. And then 5 minutes later, I see you again. I don't say, morning, Will, not a second time.
No.
That's for saying good morning or hello.
What do you do on that second occasion, David? What if we've seen each other the second time? We sort of look at each other and...
Well, you don't have to say anything. But here's the point. When you're saying goodbye to somebody or farewell, then you can say it as often as you like. So now I'm leaving you in the evening. I say, goodbye, Will. And then I come back and I see you again. Hi, bye, Will. Bye. Bye-bye now.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah.
I can say goodbye as often as I like.
It's so weird, isn't it?
And it's true for most languages that there is this difference between good morning or hello and good evening or whatever, good night and farewell. That's the sort of thing. And once teachers pick up on a point like that, it's great fun in the classroom.
Yeah. It's also the timing. Sorry, Ben. You go.
No, I was just... which book is that?
That's Let's Talk. How English Conversation Works.
The timing of when to say goodbye is quite important as well. You don't want to do it too early. 10 minutes early or something.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
Although we are, as humans, masters of, or meisters, I should say, genderless, meisters of the long goodbye, of standing around in coats and not wanting to part company.
Yeah. But
a long handshake.
Through online media people who make a sort of living out of repeating it. I remember Stephen Fry when he was doing his programs like QI, he would start the program by saying, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. You know, some people play with it in that way.
Yeah. Okay, where are we? We've got quite a few questions here. Okay. Why do you use the verb to be before agree?
Agree?
Yeah, I don't think. I'm
agreeing, you mean? Or something like that?
Not sure.
I am agreeing.
Sorry, I'm just trying to frantically read the question.
I mean, it may be that sort of example. I'm agreeing versus I agree. I agree with you. Or I'm agreeing with you. If that's the point, then what you're noticing is a change in the use of the progressive form in English over the last 30 or 40 years. The progressive has become more and more common. 40.
What do you mean by progressive?
Continuous.
I am agreeing, or the continuous form, as some people call it. And 30 or 40 years ago, people would not so much have said that. They'd have said, I agree with you. But now it's, I'm agreeing with you. And the best public example of this is the advertisement for, what's it called?
I don't know.
Yeah, you should know this because I haven't said it yet.
That's true.
I'm loving it.
Right, McDonald's.
The burger chain that shall not be spoken of.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You know, that's very new. It used to be just, I love it. But now I'm loving it.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it's a change in the progressive. It's becoming more and more frequent in English.
Interesting that calling it the continuous is a progressive term for the progressive.
Yes, it is. That's right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, have you thought about the implications of what that sort of means on a linguistic societal? You know, I'm loving it is maybe a bit more of a. Could that imply that the love, the fact that you love, is actually got a beginning and an end rather than a state?
Yeah, it's focusing on the moment, as it were, while
Yeah.
you're eating the burger in that particular case.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is, as I say, it's.
I'm loving it now. I'm not going to love it in a few hours'
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Give me 20 minutes. You don't
Yeah.
want to hear what I think about this burger in 20 minutes.
That's right. It's something that's developing. I should perhaps add in standard English, in international standard English, in some regional dialects of English around the world. You've been saying that for years. In India, for instance, if you're
Right.
from South Asia, you've been saying things like, I am knowing the answer to the question, and things like that for a long, long time. And this is sort of coming into general English now.
Interesting. Okay, I think we're going to stop there, guys. We have got other questions, but we've got to think about time. Unfortunately, we could go.
Of course.
On.
Yeah.
Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming and tuning in. Enjoy the rest of the festival.
Yeah. Bye for now.
Bye for now, guys. See you soon. Okay, so everyone else here, hello, welcome. If you come during that talk, welcome to the Global Teachers Festival. I'm going to share my screen with a slide that I hope you'll welcome. This is something we're bringing in this year, just a little break we're going to do because the festival, the sessions they're 30 minutes long each, but actually in total, it's sort of 90 minutes approaching the 2-hour mark. So we thought this year that we'd just do a couple of minutes, not very long, just a few minutes. We're going to turn off the mic and cam. You guys can go and do whatever you want to do just for a couple of minutes. And I'll see you back here in a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. So go and take a break, stand and stretch, whatever you want to do. Grab a coffee. See you in a few minutes. Am I being seen? Yes, there we go. Hi, everyone. I feel like I'm breaking some kind of sacred silence. Hi. Are you back? Is everybody here? If you're here, warm your fingers up straight away with an emoji or a hey, or what did you get up to? What did you just do? What did you just do? I literally just did nothing just then. I just sat there chilling. It's quite a busy day today, so I just took a minute just to chill. What did you do? What did you take? What did you usually do for those 2 minutes just then? Ate. Had a snack. What else are you going to do? Got to have a snack. Got some yogurt. Lovely. Had a coffee. Good stuff. Waited. I can sense some impatience there, Laura Messer. I hope that's not impatience. Stretching. Good stuff. Coffee. Brilliant. Okay. I think it's about time we get the second half of this started. Susan and Sarah, are you there? Susan and Sarah, Hillyards, the Hillyards. I just heard myself. There's a Hillyard, an Iliad. Oh, we can't see you yet. Almost. There we go. Hello, you two.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the Global Teachers Festival.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Great to have you both back. Really, really awesome. Thank you for coming. And it's great to see you back together. You were on the same day, I think, before, weren't you? But it's really great that we get to see this talk from you. It's so unique, this talk. And again, I'm going to thank you afterwards, but thanks for clearly putting in so much thought and emotion. I think it sounds like a really kind of sort of loving project that you put together. So thank you very much for it. So just for a brief introduction, you two, this is Sarah Hillyard, everybody, an old friend of Macmillan Education. She's awesome. She's a teacher trainer. She's awesome. She teaches young learners and pre-primary learners. She's awesome, really cool. And she's just a very talented teacher trainer, Sarah. So it's great to have you back. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Will. It's lovely to be here. Always lovely.
And your mother, Susan Hillyard, is here. English teacher extraordinaire for over half a century. Can I say it like that, Susan? Over half. You must be proud of that.
Yes, over half a century. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And a friend of Macmillan Education for a long time. Thank you so much for joining us today, Susan.
An even older friend.
I'm not going to say. I'm not even reacting to that. I'm not going to let you draw me into that, Susan. There's a court case. I can hear it. The court case looming. Okay, I think I'll leave the stage to you two. Have a lovely time. I'll see you in about half an hour.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Will, and hello, everybody.
Hello,
Hi.
everybody. We know you are all over the world, so I won't say good morning. It's still morning here in Argentina, but I know it's all kinds of times all over the world. So just a great hello. So shall we start, Sarah?
Let's start.
Let's start. Okay. Some years ago, I wrote this little monologue, and I thought I'd share it with you today because it sort of explains how I got into teaching and how I used my love of singing, dancing, and acting in my ELT lessons to make them more creative. So I hope you enjoy this monologue, Hooked on Drama. I decided I wanted to go to acting school and become an actress. So I said to my mum, Mum, I'm going to go to acting school. I'm going to be an actress. And she answered me, no, you will not, young lady. What do you think you're thinking about? I've always told you you've got a very big imagination and a very big mouth to go with it. And I've told you that your mouth will get you hanged one day. So just stop thinking of these things, my girl. You won't be going on any stage in this country while I'm alive to stop you. So I thought, and I went back to my mum and I said, Mum, I've decided I want to be a dancer. I'm going to go to dancing school and I'm going to become a dancer. Oh, no, you will not, young lady. Don't you be thinking about that for 1 minute. Yeah, you'll be wearing those silly tutus and those stupid bally shoes where you tiptoe on your toes, and you won't be able to live. You'll be freezing yourself to death in those things. You'll be starving yourself to death like they did, my ancestors did in the famine, in the potato famine. You won't be doing any of that over my dead body. You'll be doing that. So I thought, and I thought, and I thought, I know. Mom, I've decided I want to be a nurse when I grow up. And I want to go and help sick people. I'm going to go to nursing school and become a nurse. Over my dead body, you'll become a nurse. What do you think you're thinking of, my young girl? You must be stupid. Yeah, sitting up half the night with all those miserable, dying old fogies. You won't be doing that. No, not while I'm here to give you me pearls of wisdom. Oh, so I thought, and I couldn't think what I could tell her that she would agree to. Meanwhile, my father called me into the shed in the garden, and he said, "Sit down, Toots. Let's have a nice cup of tea." And so we did. And he told me how I had become the person I was. He said, "Let's think about this, shall we? Let's think about what you really like doing. What you really like doing is helping those wretched children from up and down the road, babysitting them, and also giving them private lessons. And that's what you like the best. And you also love going to school. You love the reading and you love the writing, and you spend far too much time doing the reading and writing when you should be doing something altogether different. So why don't we think about all those concerts that you like doing for the poor children in the area? And let's think about what university you could go to. You could go to university and you could read philosophy, or you could read history. You could become a teacher." So I thought about it. And I got together all the guides I could find from the universities around England. And I found a fantastic course just for me: English language and dramatic arts. So off I went to the University of Warwick in the middle of England with all my knowledge of the world so far, green as grass, not thinking that I was going to be really doing anything. And 4 years later, I came out with my degree clutched in my nervous little hand, still as green as grass. So I went into my first school. It was a huge comprehensive school in the middle of Coventry, downtown Coventry. And I was teaching remedial students of 13 and 14 years of age. I'd always done secondary students. And I thought that I was going in like Florence Nightingale, holding the lamp over the wounded learners lying on the boring corridors of the school. I had thought my classroom was going to be a paradise of learning. No. I went to my heads of department. I was teaching 5 subjects. I was teaching maths, geography, English language, English literature, and drama. And I went to my heads of department and I said, "I can't do this. I just cannot do it. How can I teach them if I can't even reach them? They won't listen to anything I'm saying. Clive wants to sit on my lap every day and let me stroke his head and make him better because his father beat him yesterday. That's what women do in his house. And Raspal, he lives with women who are with the veil and they can't go out to go shopping on their own. How can I boss him about? He's a grown man of 14 years of age and he's going back to Pakistan next week. to marry. And how can he listen to anything I'm saying to him? I can't do anything with them. Kevin just hits out at everybody and everybody hits back, except me, of course, because I'm not allowed to. What can I do? Venus opens all the cupboards, picks up the boxes of manipulatives and throws them out of the open windows. John has suckers attached to his hands and he climbs the walls on top of the cupboards and he sits there and won't come down. And it doesn't matter how many times I say, John, John, come down. You can't learn anything up there. He stays there. I just don't know what to do with them. Brian's got a big doctor's bag of venomless snakes and stingless wasps. And he threatens me with them. What can I do? Ah, said the geography head. Why don't you just give them a test? That'll calm them down. I don't think so. Why don't you read them a nice fairy story? Said the head of English. Oh, yeah. I know. Why don't you take in a big box of wooden shapes like circles and triangles and squares? Let them have some hands-on experience. Hands-on experience, that's just what we need. No, Susan, you're just going to have this to look at and to think about all on your own. Nobody's going to help you. You're alone in this. So I thought, and I thought, and I thought, so which of the 5 subjects works the best? I know, I've got it. It's drama. At least in drama, they do the exercises because they like them and they connect a little bit with each other and they connect with me and they connect with the subject. And maybe they're not perfect, but at least they follow the rules of engagement. And what's more, there are some learning outcomes, little tinsy wincy, eeny weeny, itsy bitsy, yellow polka dot bikini bits of learning outcomes. But it's that. Eureka! I've cracked the code. I'll teach everything through drama. And so I did. And I turned them around. So the other teachers said to me, but how'd you do it? How'd you do that with that group of 18 special needs students who can't speak English? Drama does it. And that's how I became hooked on drama. And still am.
That's a great story, and I've been loving the comments in the chat box. We've been having people saying it's very relatable, so real. What a terrible class as well. Amalia loved your talk with your dad. Jesus said when he was a child he wanted to become an actor too, and I think maybe he is a bit of an actor actually, even if he doesn't realize it, and we'll talk about that in a bit.
Exactly. So now, Sarah, it's over to you.
Okay, now let me tell you my story. So I did. I wanted to become an actress. And my mother said yes. I said, Mum, I'm going to go to an audition to become an actress. And she said, excellent. That will be a wonderful experience. So I did. Then I wanted to become a musician. And my mother said yes. I said, Mum, I want to go to music school to learn to sing and play the piano. She said, fantastic, you'll do great. So I did. But then life, with its little quirks of fate, put me in the fascinating world of teaching, following both my parents' footsteps. I said, I've decided I want to be a teacher now. No, you don't want to do that, they both said in unison. But I've decided I want to use my singing and my dancing and my acting in kindergarten. So they thought, and they thought, and they thought, oh, okay then, terrific, go for it. They both said it very positively, so I did. But from this one, there was no turning back. It was the point of no return. In my first year as a kindergarten helper, I watched, I observed, I delved into second-hand experiences. In some classrooms, children were well behaved. I was impressed by the teacher's ability to maintain order and quieten them down. They were all very attentive at all times. It was mainly repetition, by the way, drilling, obvious answers to obvious questions, the easy on the teacher classroom. And then there were other classrooms, the noisy classrooms, where the children were hardly little angels, but they enjoyed being there. They had fun, they learned, they were creative, they were curious, they discovered, they were engaged, they smiled. It felt exciting being a helper in that classroom. I smiled and learned too. That was the classroom I wanted. I thought, I want to have a noisy classroom when I become a teacher. I felt very positive, so I did. Unfortunately, people do say, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. When I moved from helper to teacher, that noisy classroom I'd wished for became a place of chaos, full of naughty little devils, almost murdering each other and almost killing me off in the process. I started to understand why a teacher would want an easy on the teacher classroom. So I thought, and I thought, and I thought, I need to find ways to merge these two types of classrooms. I felt positive, so I did. And I built my classroom with my own rules, my own style, my own objectives for learning. I would be stern but sweet. I would sow the seeds of love for the language. I would allow multiple opportunities to practice in creative and playful ways. The children would read stories at the age of 4 in front of the rest of the class. Once upon a time, and they would repeat the information that they knew. This porridge is too hot. In my classroom, children would not only learn a language, but they would learn about how to be and what to do. They would learn to share, play fair, be nice, put things back where they found them, say sorry, behave accordingly, clean up, draw unicorns, build castles, design their dream house, paint and sing and dance and play, stick together, wonder. That would be my classroom. However, the classroom stage was very different from the teacher stage. I was adept at standing up and saying my lines in front of people or singing in front of people, but this was far removed. There was no script. I've never believed in improvising. I'm a highly organized person. I plan everything step by little step, so I would write my own scripts for parts of my lessons, and I would have to learn that the rest would be left to improvisation. Anyway, I felt very positive, so I did. And that's when I realized that all I really needed to learn, I learned in kindergarten, not only as a child, but as a teacher, and now as a mum. And then I decided that what I wanted to do was to help other teachers develop these skills to build their own classrooms. Once more, I felt positive, so I did.
Great, Sarah, thank you. A lot of great comments in the chat box. Teaching is quite a challenge, but it fills you with great satisfaction. Yes, teaching is so rewarding. Lots and lots of emoticons for joy, hearts, fireworks, and we act every day in real life. And lots more fantastic, great passion. Fully agree, teaching in the kindergarten is an adventure. I always read it to my students. Read stories, I suppose. Awesome, inspiring. Can we implement all these with adults? Let's say yes, immediately, because we have done. Agree 100%, great. All I ever learned, I learned in kindergarten. I thought that was a lovely ending. Thank you, Sarah. Everybody seems to appreciate what you have said. Lots and lots of hearts all over the place. So, shall we go on?
Yes, let's go on. And I think this connects a lot with what Jesus was saying that he always wanted to be an actor. So I think this next part connects to that a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, because basically we believe that everybody is born creative and that teachers themselves are actually artists. So we're going to be asking you some questions. If you would write me or yes in the chat box and carry on with your emoticons if you'd like to tell us that yes, you do that. So my first question is to Sarah. Sarah, did you ever meet a teacher who wasn't creative?
Don't think I have. I think every teacher is creative in some way or another, whether they realize it or not sometimes. I think teaching itself is an art form. Think about it. We craft art lessons, we improvise when things don't go as planned, we adapt to our different audiences. Many teachers create their own props, their materials, their attractive displays for their classrooms, singing, puppeteering, storytelling, they're all art forms that we use. So in a way, I think we're all performers, we're all storytellers, we're mime artists sometimes, and designers, and we shape experiences that engage and inspire our audience. So yes, I think there's always some form of art and creativity involved in teaching. I don't think teachers can not be creative. You don't have to be Picasso or Mozart or Meryl Streep, but coming to think of it, I think all teachers I've met have some kind of creative or artistic side. What kind of creative teachers have you met on your journey?
Well, I've met hundreds of creative teachers and I've got to know them quite well. And I've discovered that they have a hobby which they really love doing in their spare time when we have spare time. And they love their hobbies so much. They want to share them in their classrooms with their students because they feel in their element when they are doing their hobbies, and they want their students to experience that feeling of being able to do the arts in the classroom and to be able to show how creative they are. And if you look back onto the session by the Crystals, those of you who were in attendance, you will notice that they also were musicians, writers, actors, and they have brought all that into their teaching, and they have shown us a fabulous performance today. So yes, all teachers are artists. Maybe some of them haven't found it yet, or maybe some of them haven't been able to find their creative spirit, but we can help you do that. So we're going to be asking you your questions now, but we're still getting great comments. So Sarah, you start.
Okay, so who here has ever sung in their classroom? So use an emoji, write me in the chat box, let us know. Who here has ever sung in their classroom? Me, 1,000,000 times, all the time. Yes.
Me. Okay, and from me, who here has incorporated movement or drama in their classroom? Me.
Oh. Who's created something artistic like a display or crafts or props for teaching their learners?
Me.
Got people saying every day.
Wonderful. Who's ever used an unusual object as a teaching aid? Oh, yes. I have.
Who's ever made their learners laugh using a silly voice? Yeah.
People have. And finally, from me, who's drawn a concept on the board or on the whiteboard or on paper to make that concept clearer for their students. Oh, we have a lot of artists around today.
You see how creative you already are. You're not only teachers, you're artists too. You're teacher artists.
Wonderful.
So it's not just us. It's not just us. Lots of teachers out there doing the same. We're going to do a sketch now. And we want to show how creative we can be with words. And the words we were looking for our sketch were words and expressions connected to creativity. So can you use those reactions that are down at the bottom that you've been using? They're lovely ones, those hearts and those clapping hands and those rockets down there at the bottom. Use those emojis to show us in the chat box or down there when you spot one of these expressions that connects to creativity in our sketch. Okay, so open your ears and pay attention, pay very close attention to those expressions that connect to creativity in our sketch, okay? And use those little emojis or those reactions. Are you ready? Are you got your hands ready?
Are you ready? Yes, okay, good. Sarah, shall we get together and fly the flag for creativity in teaching and talk to every teacher in the world so that they can learn to do it?
I think that's a bit over the top.
Yes, but I do feel every teacher should have the opportunity to build castles in the air and to some extent dance to their own tune. They shouldn't be afraid to dance as though nobody's watching.
Yes, but how can we help teachers to think outside the box?
Let's do some blue sky thinking, and let's do some brainstorming, and let's get lots of ideas in the pipeline.
But make sure we don't break the mold too much. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just take baby steps before giant strides.
Oh yes, because this is a real game changer. We have to be very careful. It's a game changer for the teaching of the English language, and it's way ahead of the curve.
Many people may be thinking that we're pushing the envelope here, but this is what we should be doing in the classroom, where everything needs to be elastic in terms of creativity.
Yes, let's go for a breath of fresh air. We need that.
Yeah, let's go with cutting edge stuff. Let's break new ground. Let's colour outside the lines.
We're going to have to play it by ear with each group we meet, but at least we'll have teachers seeing the bigger picture and taking creative journeys into the heart of their teaching.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
What do you think? Are you ready to do it? So
Yes.
sure, lovely.
Sure.
So tell us in the chat box, how will you approach the sessions in this festival? With curiosity, with openness, with excitement, with creativity, or anything else? How will you approach these sessions for these 2 weeks? Curiosity, excitement, motivation, epic excitement. Oh.
Like a sponge. Ears wide open. Interest, motivation, positivity, enthusiasm. Amazing. Well, we hope you will, and we hope you will enjoy every single minute of this amazing Global Teachers Festival produced by Macmillan. So thank you everybody for being here. And I think we'll have Will with us in a moment to look at the Q&A and see if we can try to answer some of your questions. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you, Sarah. Amazing, lovely, beautiful talk. Thank you very much. What do you think, everybody? Let's have a score out of 10, please, and an emoji to describe how you're feeling. So a descriptive word and an emoji. There you go, 9 out of 10. That's pretty good. I think
Pretty good.
you can't complain at 9 out of 10. 90% in any test is pretty astonishing.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Oh, there's loads of love coming. Good stuff. Thank you so much again, you two. Okay, so we've got some questions, and I'm going to go straight in to them, if you don't mind. So the first one is, any books? A few of them are talking about books that you can recommend to integrate creativity into the classroom like that, or even specifically drama into the classroom.
I think Susan's got the answer to that.
There's an old lady who wrote a book called Teaching English Through Drama. I don't know if Will's going to allow me to say who the publisher was.
Go on, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. It's with Helbling.
Okay.
And you can find it in paper version or on like a kind of ebook. And it's full of strategies. It's got a tinsy weeny, eeny weeny, itsy bitsy yellow polka dot bikini bit on theory. And the rest of it is just exercise, breathing exercises, mindfulness exercises, language games, playing, how to move the body to enhance the speech, body language, etc., etc., etc. Oh, thank you.
Okay, cool. All right. How can you motivate your students to act in class? That sounds like a really good question, actually. I can imagine that sort of falling flat if not done the right way, perhaps.
Okay, yeah. In pre-primary, if we're talking about the very little ones, it's not too difficult because they're usually not very, self-aware yet. They just go off and do stuff. They just join in. They're happy to do so. So usually with the little ones, you wouldn't have much of a problem there, except for a few that, they don't engage with that, and that's fine as well. And sometimes what we let them do when they're very, very young is, if you want, you can be the audience, but we give them the name audience so they feel important as well. So it's not just, okay, just sit back and do nothing, but you're the audience. And how does an audience respond? Audiences clap, listen carefully, think, audiences engage with it. It's not just that you're going to just sit there and do nothing and be passive. So they're still going to be an active audience if they don't want to be doing the acting themselves. But most of the time, you'll see that the very young ones do want to participate anyway.
Okay.
And sometimes you give them the chance to just, fill in a word or something if they're not so sure about it, and that's fine as well. But then perhaps older learners, would you like to talk about older learners?
Yeah, I've been in secondary education most of my life, and then transformed into teacher education. So I've been doing teenagers and adults for most of the time. And I think it's all to do with belief. If you believe that drama is the way, if you believe creativity is the way, you'll go in yourself with that kind of passion. And you will be able to inspire them. You will be able to set the ground rules with them. I always create a class contract, which I write on posters on the wall, and I point to it if they infringe one of our rules. And I always send it out to the parents in paper form for the parents to sign, so that everybody's on the same page, literally. And we have done that contract between us. It has to be like that, I think, in teenage rooms and in adult classrooms, because they know what they want and they know what they expect. And it's also very important to start out on the first day laying out your classroom in a different way. So people aren't looking at the backs of people's heads, because we do not interact like that in real life. We look at people in the eyes, we talk to them face to face, as David Crystal said this morning. And so I think it's important that you go in with the idea that from day one, we are going to do drama.
Got it. Got it. I want to be in your class. You put me in line, Susan, I think.
I certainly would. I would have eating out of my hand.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've actually had, there are lots of, I'm sure I would, Susan, I'm sure I would. We've had lots of questions here. People, lots like talking about sort of shyness. I think people are sort of tentative about maybe going as far as you're saying they should go because they're kind of worried that they're going to go there with this new kind of mindset, really energetic, ready to do drama and really be creative with their students and allow that. But maybe there's kind of just a general tentativeness to go all in because they're kind of afraid that they're going to get, maybe this is kind of more of a fear of rejection on the teacher's part, but they're kind of fearing getting nothing back, I think. So any inspiration or guidance for teachers that are kind of feeling that within themselves, that they're kind of a bit kind of, I don't really know how it's going to fall. How can they get their confidence?
I work on that a lot because I think that it's not easy for all teachers to do it. And they are afraid in some way, particularly with teenagers and adults, that it just all falls flat.
Mhm.
And I work on strategies mainly. I teach the teachers the strategies and I have them do the strategies themselves as though they were students. And then what I call retrieval practice. That means I work online anyway. I do some face-to-face, but not very much since the pandemic. And I think it's important that they actually practice what I am preaching and that they actually they build up their confidence bit by bit.
Mhm.
And the strategies that I have do that. And I'm very good at reading teachers' feelings. And so I know who to give what to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
For all levels, all different age ranges, and the strategies fit also with converting your book, your course book, to be a bit more dramatic.
Got it.
That you course book, you still got that security, but you keep the text, change the task.
Okay.
And we do what I invented this morning, embodied comprehension.
Right? You're keeping that, are you? You've been thinking about that, Susan, I can tell. That's been back there, hasn't it, in the last few hours? Embodied comprehension. Got it.
Yeah. What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, and when working with teachers to build their confidence to use drama in the classroom and how they can build their students' confidence in the classroom, we talk a lot about the strategies to use. Sometimes taking baby steps first, because everybody has to get used to that kind of work, the teacher and the students. So some baby steps first, and there are very simple drama activities that you can do that haven't got to be full-blown production kind of things. You know, they're very little small things you can do in the classroom, and you'll probably get your shy students to participate as well, because it's not going to be too much of an exposure for them. You do have those little strategies that you can use, or confidence building activities. So those confidence building activities perhaps are the ones you want to use at the beginning, until everyone gets used to that style.
Okay.
Into it and understand this is what we're going to be doing here.
Got it. I've got just a sorry, Susan, you go.
I would like to add in that some of my shyest students, some of my weakest students in English language classes or English literature classes absolutely blossom in drama, because they find that there are other ways of expressing themselves. It's not that they can't express it through the English language on its own, it's that they haven't been taught or given the space to use their other channels of expression.
Okay.
So they do blossom and they feel the transformation in themselves. And some of them don't even want to go when the bell goes. That's actually happened.
Brilliant. All right, I've got one thing I'd like to say to that, I think, is so I've got a son called Teddy, and they do nativity every year at school. I don't know if that's around the world, but in the UK it's very common. They sort of do the birth of Jesus story, and they do it under the sea. They do it on the in all sorts of different formats, and every child in school is involved in that in some shape or form. They've got a line, or they sing on full. They sing a chorus together. My son is naturally a very shy person, and that's great. That's who he is. That's the person he is. He doesn't really like to sort of He's not sort of out there. It's just not his character. And I had this sort of feeling in my stomach when I was watching him. He's 5, and I was watching him do this play, and I know his character. Obviously, I'm his dad, and I could see that he wasn't really enjoying that. And that they sort of not thrust him on stage and force him to do this and that, but we didn't really get consulted about that as the parents. And they're sort of, you're putting my son up there. He's not really inclined to that. But there's another side of me that knows that believes that you should expose children to all sorts to see if they maybe actually they do when the boots are on, they're actually doing it. But do you have any thoughts about that? There are shy people, and that's absolutely amazing. You know, there's nothing wrong with being shy. It's just who they are, and they're not really performers. Where do you fall on that?
Well, I've been thinking about that a lot as well, Will, because my daughter Mila is also very shy, and I get the same feeling as you when I go to the school performances.
Okay.
And I do think one thing is a performance in front of parents or other children. Another thing is activities that you can do in the classroom, which is teaching through drama. I think they're two different things anyway. But when you are talking about performances that are put on for an audience, being parents or another class, I think it is important as a teacher to know your class really well, to know the different personalities. Give them the chance, if they want to try, but perhaps if they're not going to be enjoying it, they can have different roles. So like I was saying before, it could be, you could be a dancer if you prefer to dance. If you don't want to speak, say any lines, that's fine. Sing them, and that's fine. Why don't you sing the song then? So you could have different roles within that. Even with a bit older, perhaps, learners, you could even give them parts in backstage. They don't have to be on the stage, perhaps. They could be They could be the DJ. They could be, you know, the
set, like designing the sets. There's all sorts of props in it and stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, they could be making the props. They could do the artistic side of preparing the props. So that's still artistic, but perhaps it's not standing on the stage and saying your lines. What you like to do, that's fine. Do something. You will be involved, but perhaps in different ways. So giving them different roles, I think, is important as well.
Great, good stuff. Thanks, Sarah. Okay.
Great. I think it's important to stress that when we talk about drama, we're talking about educational drama. We're not talking about theatre.
No.
So we're not talking about having a script, getting the students to learn the lines off by heart. We're not talking about us being the director. We're talking about something which is called process drama. And that really builds up confidence. It builds up a physical understanding of how you use your body, how you make the meaning expressed through your body, and how you can emotionally relate to it, and how you relate to other people emotionally as well. And so it brings in all these, you know, 4 C's of the 21st century plan. And for me, it works. It really does work. And I want every teacher to learn to do it. That's my mission.
Yeah. You're going strong. Thank you so much for doing it, Susan. Okay, I think we're going to call it a day, if that's okay with you two. Well, not a day, not just yet. Sorry, we've got one more later on tonight. So you've got a bit of a bigger breather now. You've got about, 6 hours or something. Thanks again, Susan and Sarah, and I'll see you in a couple.
Lovely. Thank you, Will.
See you soon.
Thanks, everybody out there.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to try and share my screen now, which isn't doing what I wanted to do. 1 second. There we go. Clickety click. Okay. So we're almost there, everyone. I've just got a couple of things to say to you. So that's it for day 1. Day 1 is finished. Thanks so much for coming. We've got loads coming up for the rest of this week. I've already taken you through that. I'll tell you a bit more about tomorrow in a sec. Before you do go, though, we've got a session tomorrow with me and Harry, with a special guest, Laura Wilkes, joining us for a session about the art of conversation and keeping conversation flowing and helping your students with that. But just to make you aware that we also have a podcast. Put your hands up in the chat in some shape or form if you listen to podcasts. I do. I actually listen to true crime podcasts. I love them, and audiobooks. It's not a podcast, it's a similar thing. Do you listen to podcasts? Yes or no? Ooh, what's happening? There we go. You do? Nope. Yes. Bit of a mix. Premier League to get you sleeping. Yeah. Audiobooks for me. Great. Getting me sleeping. Good stuff. Well, anyway, we've got a podcast. I run it with Harry Waters, who you might know. And it's kind of about everything within ELT. It's kind of your staff room chat kind of approach. So it's pretty friendly, pretty informal. But we're not afraid to pull any, we don't pull punches. We'll challenge people if we think that we're not totally on the same page about something. So it's just an interesting, hopefully, teachers around a staff room table kind of vibe. If you want to listen to it, please do. There should be a link on the screen somewhere now, or go to macmillanenglish.com and it's all there. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music. I think basically wherever you get your podcasts, you can just search Advancing Learning Podcast and you'll find it. Go and take a look. I hope you enjoy it. Advancing Learning Podcast. That's exactly it. Aglaya. Advancing Learning Podcast. You just type that into Spotify and it'll come up. Okay. A few people have been asking about your virtual goodie bag as well. So every day of the festival, to everybody that comes to the festival, we are giving away a free virtual goodie bag for every day, and it's different every day. It's got a whole set of new things in there all the time. So every day you're going to have the session recordings. They won't be in there straight away, but in a minute, not just yet, Evelina will share a link that will take you to the goodie bag. So we're actually giving them to you now. You're about to get it. And in the goodie bag today, you've got the best of the Global Teachers Festival. This is in celebration of our 5th anniversary of the festival. We've been doing it for 5 years now, and it's still going strong. And I feel so happy and privileged. Cheesy as it sounds, I feel very happily and privileged to be part of such an event on a yearly basis. And this is in celebration of that. So the very best of is, as voted by you, some of the best talks from all of the festivals we've had, along with their accompanying PowerPoint slides we always give away sort of gifts with the talks as well. So the recordings, the slides, and gifts from each of those talks. Sort of the voted best of. So do go and take a look at that. That's the best of the Global Teachers Festival. Evelina, if you want to put the link up now, I don't know if you have yet, but the link should come up now at some point somewhere on your screen. Not in the chat box, it will come up on the screen somewhere. There you go. Virtual goodie bag. Cool. So that's the Global Teachers, best of the Global Teachers Festival. Tomorrow there'll be a new one. The day after there'll be a new one. The day after there'll be a new one. So go and take a look at that. If you're on Facebook and LinkedIn, unfortunately, we can't give you the goodie bag. But if you register for the Global Teachers Festival, we will give that to you. That's for everyone that comes into the Zoom session. So do register if you'd like to. You can still register for the whole of the festival. Okay, day 2. We've just done day 1. Tick. Almost done. We've got another one later. But day 2 of the Global Teachers Festival is as follows. It's Harry and I running our... So we've got sort of a live podcast session tomorrow with Laura Wilkes, where we're talking about the art of a great conversation. So that's where hopefully you as people, or maybe you can pass on to your students about some of the things that we would recommend to have a good conversation, keep it flowing, keep it happy, keep it interesting. So various pieces of advice there that hopefully will chime with you. And then Paula Assad, our winner, one of our winners from the New Voices event that we had a few months ago. She's got a talk talking about helping you get your students to speak. Getting them speaking better, thinking more about what they're saying with some no prep activities. And that's for primary learners. So do come along to that. That's tomorrow. If you haven't registered, you still can. Just come along. You'll get the link, Emily, in by email. It should, if you've registered for the 2 p.m, it'll be by email now. And also 1 hour in advance, you'll get it as well. That's for all of the days. 1 day and 1 hour before it starts, you'll get an email from Zoom. Okay, so to finish, I've got one question for you. One thing that you've learned today. Give me a couple of words that you've learned today from either of those 2 sessions or from both of them. What have you learned today? One takeaway for you personally. Simultaneous feedback, Lopez. Great. Drama teaching. Every teacher is creative. English is a progressive language. Yes. Feedback. Be creative. Creativity. Aspect of fillers, feedback, drama, good stuff. Think outside of the box, definitely. Teachers as artists, promoting togetherness, acceptance of I am agreeing. Yes, that was an interesting little segue, wasn't it? Learn more about acting. Definitely Kelly. I love, yeah, I'm into it. Ben is amazing. You've got to see some more of his work. Just go to YouTube and find Ben Crystal. He's amazing. Educational drama, teacher as an art form. Great. Wow. Okay, they're coming thick and fast. Thank you so much. Everyone, have a great rest of your day. We will see you tomorrow for day 2 of the Global Teachers Festival. Goodbye. See you.